Intermediate School District, Dr. Tova Sheldon, Director of Learning Services and Instruction, Early Childhood Coordinator Bridget Griffith, and literacy consultant Sandy White. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having us.
You're welcome. Last week, your superintendent was on the show, and we talked about really overall the services and how school's underway. But today I thought we could use your visit to explain to our viewers maybe a little bit about what the ISD is and what it entails and encompasses, particularly when it comes to learning services.
Awesome.
And that's what you all do.
Yeah. Well, Bart, thank you so much for having us. I really appreciate the time that we have with you. And then over the years, just how we've had different opportunities to learn what each other do and how you lift up all the good things that are happening in our community. So, yep, Superintendent Kevin Oxley was on last week with Maureen Keene, our Assistant Superintendent. And a lot of times when people think about the intermediate school district, they might think about the special education services that we provide or the Career Center, which is an amazing resource in Jackson County as well. But another portion of what Jackson ISD offers is our Learning Services and Instruction Department. And really what we key in on, our purpose is about serving and supporting our local educators in our schools along with their leaders and our community partners. And that might be community-based organizations or just other facets and parts of the community. Under that umbrella, we really touch on so many different areas. So it's everything from early childhood, whole child, literacy, math, science, all those pieces. And today I have the privilege to bring this team forward, and we're really going to talk hopefully about literacy, because literacy in Jackson County is something that can resonate for everybody. So we have a really large vision in terms of what literacy might look like. I know a month or so ago you had Monica Mosier and Hendrik Schur on, and they talked about the Early Literacy Fund. Right. And they're a big partner with us, and so we were integral in bringing that to fruition. But really, there's so many facets to literacy. How can we work together to be able to make a difference? And so we talked about it in kind of a couple of different ways. One would be awareness. Another piece is action. So what can we do about it? And the third piece is access. And so if you don't have access to high quality books and things like that, then those other two pieces are really hard to do.
So we have specialists in different areas of literacy. And Bridget, you're specialize in early childhood literacy, and you're the coordinator.
Yep.
So it seems like as a community, we've been giving books to kids like all the time. So as far as access, we must be doing better.
We are. We're getting a lot of books out into the community, and that's huge. If they don't have books, they're not going to have the experience to learn how to read and really get a love of reading and getting the literacy.
Kids today, a lot of kids have access to technology. The iPad, you go to a restaurant, you see some 14-month-old kid on the iPad. Are we seeing literacy hampered or helped by technology?
I think it can do both, and that's where Talking is Teaching really comes in. It's a campaign that we're rolling out in Jackson County. It's nationwide, but we're just rolling it out with Jackson. And the biggest piece of this campaign is educating families and caregivers to just simply talk, read, sing with their children. Just bring it back to the basics. And when they do those three things, they're really helping to develop the brain and get them ready for school. This campaign's really focused on birth to age 5. And studies just show that when children are talked to, when they're read to, when they're sung to, just engaged, their brain is just firing off all kinds of new synapses and building the brain.
And it seems like common sense. Yeah, it's a no-brainer, isn't it?
It should be, but it's not always.
Not.
You really have to be intentional to think about talking to your children and asking those questions.
So you've got some tips and hints for parents, grandparents, others, teachers, preschool people on how to make reading fun.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's okay to be silly when you're reading. It's okay to, read with different voices. Or the big piece that I love about this campaign is you don't even have to be able to read yourself. If you just look at the book and you talk about what you see, it takes the place of being able to read. So it really empowers families and caregivers, no matter where they are, with reading, with whatever else is going on in their life. They can really be the child's first teacher.
Now, we of course make those suggestions based on the assumption that the caregiver can read. But there are issues with adult literacy in our community too, aren't there?
Absolutely, there are. Our numbers are not very favorable for that.
Really?
But really what Bridget, I think, brings forward, which is just so critical, are there lots of right ways to do this work. So there's lots of right ways. Again, it can come back to just talking and engaging. And even if it's something as simple as you have a picture book, you don't have to read the words on the page. It's walking through that story and asking questions. And so sometimes we forget those really simple things. It's not like our kids come with instruction manuals, right? So the resources and tools that they can access through Talking is Teaching, and you saw on some of the flyers that were up some branding, that's really important. So going to the Talking is Teaching Jackson Facebook page gives those little hints all the time of what they can be doing.
And you don't have to read the book as it's written until the kid gets a little older and can catch you on it.
That's right.
That's
then they
right.
can catch you. That's right.
Yeah.
Then they can tell you you skipped a page or those kinds of things.
All right, so we have Jackson Reed's Talking is Teaching. We've had the Dolly Parton
Imagination Library.
We've had a lot of different things. So Sandy, literacy consultant, what role do you play and how do you do your work in Jackson?
So my work takes a lot of different factors. I do some professional development with teachers and working in classrooms with teachers. But most recently, this will be our third year, would be our Jackson Reads initiative, which really brings books to the community. I think we've probably flooded the community with maybe 50,000 books in the last several years. And knowing that as Bridget, Talking is Teaching, gets kids in those early ages, we can get kids that when they get into school with already a love for reading, a love for books. And we know that the real learning takes place during practice. Just like any other sports or music, it takes place when kids are actually doing the reading. And so we want them to read at least like 30 minutes at home a day, and that can make huge gains in their overall academic career. And so if kids don't have books at home, we want to make sure that they have them, and we want to make sure that they kind of grow with Jackson Reads. So we really start out with kids at birth, and then this year we've added into our initiative middle school. And so we have another event coming up in October 28th. We're partnering again with the Y. And so we will have a middle school bag just for those middle school kids to love and enjoy.
All right, so we saw some pictures at the Ella. You've been at, I think it was the Fall Harvest Festival or something.
Yeah.
Those museum days.
Museum
days, yes,
So
our spring event.
you piggyback onto some other events that are well attended.
Well, we always do it in partnership. That's
Yeah.
really important to us. So we have wonderful community partners in Jackson, the Y being one of them, Ella Sharp being another. And so yes, it's not really only to piggyback, but really about collaborating, so meeting people wherever they are.
And you have some hints like how you can make reading fun for the kids. It's going to be fun because you're giving them time and attention, but for the reader, I suggest doing it in an accent. You know, like do a British accent.
Do you want a model for that?
I do that.
Okay,
I did do that. And when you read the book, read it from the very beginning, like the copyright page and the published by page. Kids.
You know, those are important things for kids to pay attention to. A
Yeah.
lot of times people skip that, right?
That's
so
right.
maybe not the copyright part, but at least like
And give credit to
Artist
the illustrator,
illustrator.
everyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So the books, there's no cost for this when you give books to people.
Totally free. No charge whatsoever. We just really, we are lucky enough to find grants that support this initiative and keep it going. And we'll we'll keep doing that as long as we possibly can.
Again, that's another great example of great partnership. So John George last year gave us a large grant to be able to purchase all of the upper elementary and middle school books.
Wow.
And so again, it's with people in the Early Literacy Fund, with people in partnership, we can do really big things.
That's great. Well, thanks to John George. The floating pumpkin patch at the Y, I was there
Yeah.
last year. It's
So
a
fun.
blast. So kids, they get a pumpkin and they get books.
Yep.
Yeah.
What is the feeling from that you're getting when teachers, say kindergarten, first grade, they get as students a real mishmash? Some kids can read a little, some more, and some none. Are your goals to get kids at a certain level of reading before they even get into K?
Absolutely. I mean, that is when we think about where do you start this work, we want to start it as early as possible. So that's really, really critical. And we've talked with other spaces, you know, like Henry Ford, and thinking about prenatal work. And it's really every space, because we talked about this yesterday in our time together. We can't start too early, and it's never too late to start.
Some parents will read to their kids even before they're born.
Absolutely.
Do you believe in?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
The baby's ears are formed, I think about 20 weeks. Don't quote me on that, but the babies can feel the rhythm and just the closeness of the, mom's voice, obviously, to the baby. They're remembering a lot of things from when they're in the womb.
And I know that teachers appreciate the help that they're getting from parents before school starts, but then once kids are in school, particularly those early grades, you want it to keep going.
Absolutely. Schools always want that partnership. It's a both and space.
You guys are helping teachers, so you might not think you're being touched by the ISD, but your teachers are.
Absolutely.
There's ongoing continuous education that happens with our county's
Absolutely.
teachers, right?
Yeah, Sandy made mention of that she does professional development or professional learning for educators as well as our administrators. And that's when we think about what are the best practices out there. What does research say we should be doing for our students and our children? That's what Sandy helps to deliver, and other consultants on our team and coordinators that do that. So.
Yeah, one of the things that's really fortunate about the ISD is we have a specialty, and we can study that long, we can study that hard, and really keep up on what does the latest research say that we can support our kids in the best possible way. And that's our job, that's what we do. And then we share that with schools and teachers, principals, and
Cool. So
ultimately
we'll
kids.
remind people to go to the Y and get a pumpkin on floating pumpkin patch day.
And books.
Yeah,
And books.
And books.
absolutely.
And this one, you'll be specifically targeting middle schoolers with the books?
No, it's
No.
really, it's birth all the way to middle school. And one of the things that we're doing this year is we're going to have a table with kids that they can choose books. They'll have a bag with books in it, but then a table with a wide range of books that they can choose on their own and add to their book and add to their home libraries.
Cool. And then they leave with some free goodies, including books.
Yes.
Well, great. Good to see you all. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you
having
so
us.
much.
Yeah, keep up the great work. Dr. Tova Sheldon, Bridget Griffith, and Sandy White from the ISD. Next, we're going to